now all of a sudden they're starting to give us, more images of UFOs and, saying like, yes, they are real and we've been studying them. And last 2 weeks ago, the Mexican officials rolled out 2 rotisserie chickens.
The paper mache.
Niggas rolled out they rolled out 2 rotisserie chickens and told us, like, yeah, this is, like, why do you think, like, why now? What's like, because I know something is coming. Like, and we had a talk on the show last week, and I was like, yo, I think that now we're in a space where we're so numb to things. I said, if President Trump was to get assassinated, I don't think nobody would care.
By an alien, we probably would be like, damn, that's crazy. And life would move on.
As soon as we hit refresh,
Yep.
we on to the next shit. So it's like, why now are they giving us, 2 corpses of aliens and showing us like, yeah, these are real, showing us, aerial, unidentified flying objects that are making patterns and moves that we know we don't have the technology to make. Like, why now are they giving it to us right in our face?
Well, I think we at the end. We're at the end of a world, right? Not the world itself, but a world, right? We're at the end of America's empire of power.
Okay.
Right? When you get to these stages of any empire, you get desperate. You have to roll out every single stop that you possibly can, right? America just went through a baby bust, right? We're not producing that many babies, right? America's influence is waning, right? America's dollar is losing its grip on the world, right? So America has to roll out all stops to figure out how to maintain power, and so do other governments, not only, right, from other governments, but over their own people, right? Because as you expose people to these vast amounts of information as well, they become extremely more conscious about things, right? Their exposure and their ability to believe things become more extreme, right? We've seen that with C-19, and a lot of people didn't want to take the V. And now there's a whole funded campaign against it to where not only just people, but there's senators and governors who won't roll that out in their own states. And they're repeating the same thing that the so-called conspiracy theorists were competing previously, right? So we're now in this time and age where it's a fight for the battle of the future, right? They go put a lot of smoke screens out there, right? When they already know, you know what I'm saying? Like, the government is almost a twofold thing. They're probably not as powerful as you think, and they're probably more powerful than you think, right? The movies make them seem like the all-knowing, seeing eye, right? The most powerful in the world. They're not that, right? But the propaganda is for them to take credit for that, right? Now, this whole alien thing is interesting for many different reasons, right? I would always defer to Dr. Wesley in the alien conversation because he gave a great breakdown about the extraterrestrials and the superterrestrials. But it's like, this is like the battle of illusions, the battle of the skies, the battle for supremacy, the battle for world power, the battle for one world power, right? Like, how can this be used? Follow the money and the power, right? And then you get the agenda. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things have always been clocked before they happen, right? How many movies we've seen about alien invasions? You know what I'm saying? What does that do? So-called, they give the government more power. Each and every time we have a catastrophe, it gives them more power, right? So I would look at, for me, it's simple. It's about power and control, more power and control. And then if the alien is the threat, you know what I'm saying? And what can't they do to, what rights can't they strip you away from to protect you from an alien threat? Right? We've seen what happened during 9/11, right? That was an alien threat. You know what I'm saying? It bombed the so-called building, and all of a sudden they stripped away all your rights and you happily gave them over.
Patriot Act.
It's going to get to a point where, they don't need consent anymore and you won't even care, right? That's the ultimate place you go to. Like, bro, it's an alien threat. We ain't got to ask you for nothing.
Yeah.
But then people gonna be like, shit, take my rights away, save me. Right? So I think that this thing can go in many different ways, but aliens is the last thing I'm afraid of.
That's a recycled.
I think,
that's a recycled playbook, the alien thing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, but I think that the alien thing now is a new page of the playbook, because now it can allow unity amongst people that have been working together behind the scenes for quite some time, that we all thought were enemies amongst the world, but they've been friends. They've been doing this back and forth using all of us. Now when aliens come in, now we can do a fake unity thing, and world leaders that were supposed to hate each other, but actually work with each other,
Man,
can now
don't
publicly
take that
come
personal.
together and we can all do this bullshit.
Yeah, but I'm saying in terms of, sure, the aliens are the new threat enemy, however we want to market them. But I'm saying in terms of like fear mongering and doing a catastrophic event, to your point, 9/11 creates communal unity. We gave up all of our rights. We're all American now. We love each other. Go get the bad guy. But like in war, we make trillions of dollars. A lot of technologies come out of war. For better or worse, war produces a lot of good shit, which is sad to say.
We're already selling some of our military intelligence from this Ukraine war.
Yeah. But even if you bring in the COVID thing, whatever side you stand on, conspiracy, reality, whatever the case may be, we saw how quickly people were willing to surrender their free will, stay at home, and then vilify people that weren't. But at the same time, we were seeing on the back end corporations making billions of dollars because they were just, slapping, hey, these bodies are attributed to COVID, whatever the case may be. Cash cow keeps rolling in. So I'm like, I don't think the alien, it's not that surprising. I just think it's another opportunity for them to be like, new enemy, more money. Like, it's just a reason to get more money.
Absolutely.
And to surrender people, because again, we preach democracy, we preach free will, but how can we suspend that for a year or however long it takes? Iraq was like a fucking 10-year deal.
Mhm.
We were just dumping money into something we knew was pointless.
And then what else they go use? I mean, if you look at media always informs us about what's to come. What else in media has there been besides the alien threat, the AI?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, if they've been programming you with these ideas of fear of all these years, then that's the playbook. Like,
And-
what other threat do we even know of?
And I can already see the long-term playbook they're doing with the Mexico reveal of the 2-foot paper mache
Man,
thing.
them little MIB coffee mugs.
It's such an easy way to get the people to say, okay, aliens may exist, but they're small, they're not threatening.
Man,
That's just a
aliens
little-
coming from Mexico ain't nothing new.
Of course, I was into Postland. They was there.
Just say shout out
That's
to my
Trump.
brown people. Shout out to my brown people, man.
But it's just little breadcrumbs because then, okay, we found a new series of aliens that are way more threatening.
Yeah.
You just have to get people because they want to cause a crazy stir.
Yeah, because them little aliens.
So let's
we
expose
chill
that they're
with.
out. Yeah, we'll be fine. It's cool.
I wish they would pull up over. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, y'all don't want this.
Exactly.
Don't
You have
do
to
that. We're not
Like a
introduce-
DoorDash guy.
You know, we not doing that.
Man.
Without mass hysteria. Here they are. Aliens exist.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just to ease us into the idea they exist. And they'll become threatening by next year.
Oh yeah.
Year after that.
Yeah.
Then they'll become taller.
Yeah.
Then they'll become scarier. Then they'll have more weapons.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, you mentioned extraterrestrial and super-terrestrial. What are the differences in size and like what are the nuances between the two?
Dr. Wesley was the first person I heard talk about extraterrestrial and superterrestrial, and I don't have his defined definitions ahead of me, so I don't want to misquote him. You know what I mean? If I before the end of this, if one of y'all can pull that up by Dr. Wesley, then I'll let y'all know a little bit later.
have you watched any of these Dr. Stephen Greer interviews that have been?
I haven't. I met him through Billy Carson at the award show, but I ain't watched them interviews.
He has some.
You know why?
interesting point of
Because
views.
one thing about the alien community is they always discount the NOI, right? And the NOI was the first to start the conversation around the
100%.
aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And they be acting like they don't know, like they didn't get that information from the
Yeah.
messenger.
Yeah.
But he had a full description of it. He
Mhm.
broke it down in layers and, in the 30s. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like he was right there at the forefront of this conversation. And I believe even with if we get the definition of the extraterrestrials and the superterrestrials, that's where Dr. Wesley was kind of going to saying that these ain't aliens, man. Them are people up there.
Why I brought up Dr. Stephen Greer, and I haven't seen every interview he's ever done or read every book that he's published. He is one of the few that I've noticed that he doesn't bring up the NOI, but he doesn't discredit any of that. And I don't know if he's been asked that direct question to even go to that side, but he's one of the few I haven't seen discredited.
Well, no, because the government never tried to discredit.
Well, there's not much to discredit.
You would think that would be a low-hanging fruit, though.
Mhm.
These people believe in alien ships and
Yeah.
technology, but
Yeah.
they've never, right? But look at where we are in 2023. You know what I mean? Like, almost 90 years after that conversation was started, they never tried to use that as propaganda against the
Mhm.
NOI. Why?
That's
That's
the
the-
thing. There's not much you can
those are-
discredit in that.
Yeah, but you would have to put out it would make sense to me if I'm the media that I'm gonna make these people sound crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about alien technology, propulsion ships and anti-gravity and technology that nowhere near exists today. This would be an easy way to make them sound crazy. Government was like, study that.
Yeah.
No, let's study that.
When a lot of facts match up with what NASA's given and what I'm saying, it's tough. You can't really discredit them.
The astronomy of Elijah Muhammad was on point. You know, the things he talked about with Mars and Pluto, those are always on point. He was never discredited from his astronomy and the conversation about the mothership and the baby planes, right? But also the vast amount of society don't really know Elijah Muhammad and his teachings and his works. You know what I mean? They only know the propaganda that surrounds and that shrouds his legacy.
No, Rory and